So here is resourcing. The topic and the structure of the lesson. First, we will talk about the wide resourcing. We will identify the meaning of the resourcing, which is introduction to resourcing. Later, we talk about the contracts, about contractors and consultants, about recruitment strategies. We also learn about the selection methods and staff retention. Also, we will learn about the strategies, the retention strategies. And ending the contract, that topic, that part of today's lesson will be as a homework. You will review at your home by the book, which will give you later. So let's go for the next slide. So when we talk about the resourcing, it's actually about the recruiting. The HR manager first will analyze the labor markets. The labor markets are analyzed by different factors. The geographical differences, we will see what kind of, we have a small company, a big company, a global company. We analyze the geographical difference between all departments and ventures. We also analyze the tight and versus loose. That means the tight labor market versus the loose labor market. Tight means when the demand is less than the supply employed. The loose is when the supply is more than the demand market. So we also analyze the labor markets by occupational structure. So the labor markets actually also differ according to established behavioral norms among the different occupational groups. The attitudes of people to their organization and to their work vary considerably from profession to profession, as you know, and with important implications for their employers. Here is the useful model developed by Mahoney, illustrates these differences. So he identifies 3 distinct types of occupational structure, where you can see in the slide is the craft-oriented, the organization career, and unstructured markets. In craft-oriented labor markets, people are more committed over the long term to their profession or occupation that they are to the organization. So in order to develop a career, they perceive that it's necessary for them to move from employer to employer and building up their portfolio of experience on which they draw. So for them, it's more important is here is the profession itself, as you know, not by organization. So, and remaining in one organization for too long is believed to damage or at least to slow down the career prospects. So, examples here include the craft-oriented people is teaching, where there is often a stronger loyalty to the profession. The teachers have more loyalty to their profession. So, and by contrast, we also have a organization career labor markets. So the organization career occupation is one in which progress is primarily made by climbing a promotion ladder within an organization. So people still move from employee to employer, but less frequently, and will tend to stay in one organization for as long as they can. So, and Mahoney's the third category, as you can see, the unstructured category. It consists of lower skilled jobs for which little training is necessary. So opportunities for professional advancements are few here and leading to a situation where people move in and out of jobs for reasons which are not primarily career related. So So we identified we analyze the labor markets by occupation structure. As you can see, the labor market has three kind of types: the craft-oriented, the people which is coming to their profession, organization career, which is climbing a promotion ladder, and unstructured, the people with the lower skill jobs. So I hope you understand this slide. So this is the way how we analyze the labor market first before the recruiting people. So let's move to the next slide. Then we analyze the labor market by generational differences. This is very interesting also. So the research on generation difference from a management perspective remains undeveloped, but a number of writers have put forth interesting ideas. So here is both the Eisner and Zemke, for example, identify 4 groups defined by their dates of birth. So here is we identify the labor markets by, let's say, the dates of birth. So they go on to argue that each must be treated rather differently if they are to be successfully managed. So each group has to be treated and managed differently. So the 4 categories there is, so we can see in the next slide what is kind of people. Here is, you can see the groups. The 4 categories is the veterans or traditionalists, the people born before and during the Second World War, baby boomers is born late 1940s and 1950s. Then is Generation X, is 1960s and 1970s, and the group labeled Nexters or the Generation Y, the born after 1980s. So here is in the slide you can see some of the points made about each group. So let's go and see. So you can see the veterans are attracted to workplaces which offer stability and which value experience. I think this is common, yeah. The veterans like a stable work. So veterans are loyal to their employers and are less likely to look elsewhere for employment opportunities than younger colleagues. So the baby boomers, also about the baby boomers, they are place a high value on effective employer participations, and boomers do not object to working long hours. So this is very interesting. And the Generation X, what? Xers enjoy equity and easy with the insecurity. So also they require a proper work-life balance. They are strongly resistant to tight control system and set procedures. The Nexters also work more easily with new technology than the veterans and boomers. Of course, this is understandable because veterans and boomers is, as we know, more old people, and it would be very difficult to learn them about the new technologies. So, and Nexters and Generation Y, the Nexters are wholly intolerant of all unfair discrimination. Actually, the Nexters being serious-minded and principled prefer to work for ethical employers. So, as I know, you are guys all different, also different generation. You can find yourself in that kind of group. So, if you are not agree with that arguments, it's okay. So we can discuss about that at the end of this class, about the groups, the generation groups. So let's move to the next. So I hope you understand that slide. I hope everybody can hear me because so quiet. I hope you are not sleeping also. So next slide. So Yes. So here is flexible resourcing choices. When we also analyze the labor markets, we look at flexible resourcing choices. Here is, we can find the numerical flexibility, what that means. The numerical flexibility allows the organization to respond quickly to the environment in terms of the numbers of people employed. This is actually achieved by using alternatives to traditional full-time permanent employees. The use, for example, of short-term contract staff with the rolling contracts, staff on short-term, the government support training schemes, outworkers, and so on. So that all types enables the organization to reduce or expand the workforce quickly and cheaply. The numerical flexibility. So the next is temporal flexibility. As you can see, the concerns vary in the pattern of hours worked in order to respond to the business demands and employee needs. So they work, for example, the examples could be like contract with the annual hours, the part-time working, the job sharing, and flexible working hours. Here is the research evidence suggests that increased usage of all forms of temporal flexibility in recent years has been increased. So the longer open hours in retail and the growth of leisure sector mean that many more people now work in the evening and at night. As you know, also the temporal flexibility in recent years, people work by hours or night time, the shift, and also could be work. What else? The distinguish also. So the next one is functional flexibility. What is about actually? Here is the refers to a process in which employees gain the capacity to undertake a variety of tasks rather than specializing in just one area, or an horizontal and vertical flexibility. What that means actually. So the horizontal flexibility involves each individual employee becoming multi-skilled so that he or she can be deployed as and where required at any time. So when we talk about the functional flexibility, we talk about the multi-skill. And vertical flexibility entails gaining the capacity to undertake work previously carried out by colleagues high up to a lower down the organization hierarchy. So the horizontal, that, for example, the employees which can work in market department or sales department or the account and finance departments. And when we talk about the vertical flexibility, that means, for example, you are just the normal specialist, so you can also work as a line manager, go up or go down as a operation manager, like this. This is what about the functional flexibility. The primary purpose of functional flexibility is to deploy the human resources more efficiently. So we also, all this kind of types of flexibility all talks about the efficiently. So another source of efficiency gains arise because employees are more stretched and fulfilled and just productive than is the case in a workforce with narrowly defined jobs. So when we talk about the flexibility, about the numerical, temporal, and functional flexibility, we talk about how to utilize the employer efficiently, how to make them productive. I mean, so how to use them more narrowly. So, let's move to the next slide. So here is the figure 1 shows you a typology of career systems. So what is it about? So this is all about actually analyzing the labor markets. Now we talk first about analyzing labor market, then we move to the recruiting strategies, retention strategies, and so on. So let me explain this figure. by one by. So the organization have a choice whether depend externally on the talent available in the external labor market, or invest heavily in training and development and career system to exploit the potential and the internal labor market. So we have an organizational company has a choice whether we can invest to them, as I said, in training and development, and to exploit the internal labor market, the employees or labor market, or whether we can depend outsource. So there is some organizations they thrive despite having high levels of staff turnover, while others thrive on the development of employees who remain with the organization in the long term. So here the emphasis on either approach or a balance between the two can be chosen to support organization strategy. So the Sonnenfield proposed a model which, here as you can see, this is in figure 1, this is a model which prepared by Sonnenfield, and which relates entry and exit of staff with promotion and development of staff in the organization. So one axis of the model is supply flow. You can see supply flow on the vertical axis. They argue that the strategical organizations that focus on the internal supply tend to see people as assets with a long-term development value rather than the cost in terms of annual expenditure. The other axis is labeled the assignment. You can see assignment flow on the horizontal line, which describe the basis on which individuals are assigned new tasks in the organization. The criteria for allocation may be in terms of individual contribution to organization performance or the group on contribution. So here the model proposed describes the combination of these two aspects of resourcing and results in 4 typical career systems. This is fortress, club, academy, fortress, the club, academy, and baseball team. So let's talk about each one. The academies. In academies, there is a heavy emphasis on individual contribution in terms of reward and promotion. They are characterized by stability and low turnover of staff, with many employees remaining until retirement. There is an emphasis on development and often competition for promotion barriers to leaving the organization. The example of typical industries where academies operate are pharmaceuticals and automobiles companies. So academies, you can see in the figure, the human resource orientation is a development. The strategic model is analyzer, and typical competitive strategy is differentiation. The next one, the clubs, also is about clubs. So again, there is a heavy emphasis on the internal labor market, but promotion in clubs is more likely to be based on loyalty. So here is we talk about loyalty, length of service, seniority, and equality than the individual contribution. There is an emphasis on staff retention. The sectors where this type of system is likely to operate include the public bodies, although the introduction of competitive forces will mean that a different career system may be appropriate. So in the club, the human resource orientation is retention. The strategic model is a defender, and the typical typical competitive strategy focus. So next one is the baseball teams. What about the baseball teams? This kind of organization, they are characterized as a baseball team. Teams they use external labor sources at all levels to seek the highest contribution. There is an emphasis on the recruitment to maintain staffing levels. The employees will tend to identify with their profession rather than the organization. So an example given is the baseball teams, companies like advertising, accountancy, or legal companies. So the human resource orientation is recruitment on the baseball team. The strategic model is perspective, and the typical the company strategy is the focus based on human skills. And last one then is fortresses. What about the fortress organization? They are concerned with survival and cannot afford to be concerned with the individuals in terms of either reward or promotion. They are more likely to depend on the external recruitment, for example, and often for journalists who meet the needs of a retrenchment or turnaround situation. The examples like given is like publishing companies, organizations, the retailing, and the hotel sector. So fortress, the human resource orientation, is a retrenchment. The strategic model is the reactor, and typical competitive strategy is a cost. This is a career system. The career system, these four types of the career system which could be used in the companies. So let's go to the next one. So here is the question for discussion. So let's discuss a little. So which of the four career systems in the Sonnenfield model your organization? Can you identify your organization by this kind of system? And what characteristics lead you to this conclusion? The first question. And the second, how does this career system strategy fit with your organization strategy and organizational mission? And in times of high unemployment, many employers still continue to experience skill shortage. And what steps can employers take to alleviate this situation? What steps might be government take? So it's possible to explain the 40s ones. Mr. Han asking about fortress career system. Let's see. So fortress organization, they concern with survival. Like fortress, it explains itself this meaning. Like they concern with the survival, and they cannot afford to be concerned with the individuals. So, and they are more likely to depend on the external recruitment, often for journalists who meet the needs of retrenchment. So it's like the examples is like publishing companies, retailing, or hotel sector. This kind of organization are more concerned with recruiting and with the survival. As you know, in the hotel and retailing sector, the competition is very high. So I hope I could describe you, Mr. Han. So let's talk about the first question. Who is find your organization in that type of career system? Maybe you're working in the baseball team, or maybe you're working in the clubbing. So who wants to answer for the first question, please? Or you can, if nobody wants to answer for that question, we can leave it at the end of class, and we can go and we can move to the next topics. Hello to everybody. Please. So, if everybody is ready to answer for that question, or we can move to the next slide. Oh, sorry, I'm too loud and clear. Anybody wants to answer for the questions? If not, we can move to the next slide. I can see Mr. Lias, Mr. Javad, Mr. Zubair, Mr. Barat. Is quiet today. Mr. Kais, Mr. Swan. The question, you can see in the slide the question for discussion. Which of the 4 career systems in the Sonnenfield model your organization is? And what heuristic lead you to this conclusion? Can you find your organization in that career systems? Because if you can answer to me, that means you are with me. I mean, you are hearing my voice and you understand all those slides. Okay, so if everybody just wants to listen first, so we have lose time, so let's move. Okay, so I agree with you, Mr. Berg. So we can discuss about these questions at the end of this class. So let's move to the next one. So here is, now we talk about the contracts, the contractors and consultants. So here is, in the slide you can see the contract of employment. The law makes an important distinction between the 2 groups. The employees having access to a wider range of legal rights than non-employees. And non-employees are deemed to be working under a contract for services rather than a contract of service, as is the case of employees. So we have 2 groups, which is first is non-employees. They work under contract for services. And we have employees, which they have a contract of service. So let's move to the next one and we can understand what this kind of contracts. So here is, in 2007, the main statutory right that applied to each were those from the table 1. So here is, we can see the employment right which apply to all workers. What is actually? The equal pay for equal work, the non-discrimination on grounds of sex, race, religious belief, the sexual orientation, age, and disability, the right not to have unauthorized deductions from pay, the basic health and safety rights, the minimum wage. As you know, the minimum wage could be different in different countries. The working time regulation, there's maybe flexible working, part-time, and so on. The data protection rights, time off to care for dependents. The part-time works regulations, they could be different. And 9 months maternity leave. So all these rights is applied to all workers. So the next one, the employment rights which apply only to employees which have a contract of service. So here is a right to a statement of terms and conditions of employment, the right to an itemized pay statement, the statutory sick pay, time off for public duties, the 9 months maternity pay, the trade union right, the minimum notice periods, the fixed-term workers relations, and statutory maternity pay after 6 months service, the additional maternity leave, and unpaid dismissal rights after 1 year service, also the parental leave after 1 year service. Actually, all these kind of rights, based on the UK law, in your country or my country it could be different, but this is the main points you have to know. So let's move to the next. This is, I think, you just pick up this point that what could be applied for all workers and what is applied to employees only. So Mr. Han asked about what is the statutory sick pay. It means like when you are sick, for example, you went to hospital and you have to leave job for about 1 or 2 weeks. And during these times, the most of organization must give you off days, and they have to pay for days, the living days. But for example, some organizations they won't pay for the statutory sick pay, and this is says that the companies they're not applying the rights of employees. So the statutory sick pay when you sick and you going to take the off days, and company pay for you for this off day. They have to pay actually. Then no price of medication. No, Mr. Han says that he thinks that about the price of medication. About the price of medication, it's about the insurance. All companies must to provide you the medical insurance, and by this medical insurance, it could be covered the expenditure for the medication. That's what. But when we talk about statutory sick pay, it's about like if you are working hours, you work by hours or by days, and how much a company have to pay for you for each day. And when you are sick, they will pay for that one. So next, let's move to the next one. So right. So in addition to the statutory right conferred by us of Parliament, a range of common law duties are owed by employers to employees and vice versa, which do not apply in the case of other forms of relationship. So the major applications are as follows. So let's see what the kind of major application. So owed by employers to employees: a general duty of care, a duty to pay agreed wages, a duty to provide work, a duty to not to treat the employees in an arbitrary or vindictive manner, a duty to provide support to employees, and a duty to provide safe systems of work. The next one, the owed by employees to employees is there are a duty to cooperate, a duty to obey reasonable or lawful instructions, a duty to exercise reasonable care and skill, and the duty to act in good faith. So the owed by employees to employees and vice versa, what is to maintain a relationship of mutual trust and confidence, and owed by employees and ex-employees, the duty of fidelity. So next, let's move to the next one, the working patterns. So let's see what's about actually. The table 2 shows the checklist for preparing a contract of employment. The main points which must be in the contract. So here, the first is name of employer, the name of employee, the date on which employment began, job title, the rate of pay period and method of payment. There are normal hours of work and related conditions such as meal breaks also should be. So what else? The arrangements for holidays and holiday pay, including the means whereby the both can be calculated precisely, the terms and conditions relating to sickness, injury, and sick pay, the terms and conditions of pension arrangements, and the length of notice due to and from employee. The next one is disciplinary rules and procedure, the arrangements for handling the employee grievances, where it's applicable, and the conditions of employment relating to the trade union membership. This point you just can pick up, and for you if you are in the future going to sign any contract, this is main points which is must be in the contract. So let's move to the next one. So the contracts. So we have 6 types of the shift pattern can be identified. So each of which brings a set of problems and opportunities. So we have 6 types of the shift pattern. So let's talk about each of them. So the shift working particularly appeals to people with the family responsibilities, as it permits at least one parent to be present at home throughout the day. The several types distinct shift pattern can be identified. So the first is part-time shift. Part-time shift require employees to come to work for a few hours each day. The most common groups are the catering and retail workers employed to help cover the busy periods of the day, and office cleaners employed to work early in the morning and after hours in the evening. So here is the part-time shift is mostly catering companies, retail staff, and office cleaners. So the next one, the permanent night shift. Permanent night shifts create a special category of employees set apart from everyone else. So they work full-time, but often have a little contact with other staff who leave before they arrive and return after they have left. So apart from this working in 24 hours operation, the major categories is the security staff, maintenance, and the specialist. So the next one is double day shifts. Double day shifts involve the half the workforce coming from early in the morning until early afternoon, while the other half work from early afternoon until 10 or 11 night. And handover periods occurs between the 2 shifts when everyone is present, enabling the organization to operate smoothly for 6 to 8 hours a day. Such approach is actually common in organizations such as hospitals and hotels, which are busy throughout the day and evening, but which require relatively few people to work overnight. And the rotation between early and late shifts permits employees to take a 24 break every other day. So double day shift, the companies which work double day shift companies which work 24 hours a day, and mostly hospitals and hotels. So let's move to the next groups. The 3-shift working. The 3-shift working is a well-established approach in manufacturing industry, actually, and in service sector organization, which operate around the clock. The common patterns are from 6 to 2, from 2 to 1, and from the 10 to 6 hours. A first distinction can be made between the discontinuous 3-shift working. So the 3-shift working operates around the clock, 24 hours also. what the kind of sector is, manufacturing industry, and for example service sector like a forex exchange and other companies, organizations. So next one is a split shift. So the split shifts involve the employees coming into work for 2 short periods twice in a day. They do work on a full-time basis, but are employed on a part-time shift to cover the busy periods. They are most commonly used in the catering industry, so that the chiefs and waiting staff are present during meal times and not during the morning and afternoons when there is little for them to do. So the split shift is a catering. Most of it is a catering. There are like restaurants or cafeterias. So next one is compressed hours shift. Compressed hours shifts are a method of reducing the working week by extending the working day, so that people work the same number of hours but on fewer days. An alternative method is to make the working day more concentrated by reducing the length of the midday meal break. So here is the most of companies like this kind of shift used in engineering or in banks. Maybe, as you know, this kind of shifts can be applied in your company also. You can, if you are like as a top manager or line manager, you can also to suggest to your company to use this kind of shifts if it to be used properly in your company. It shifts shows the how to use the time in effective manner and efficiently. So I hope you understand all these kinds of 6 shifts types. So let's move to the next one. So now we talk about the flexible working hours. We have 3 types of working hours. Here is the flexitime, annual hours, and 0 hours contracts. Now we talk about the flexitime hours and 0 hours contracts. The flexitime system allows employees to start and finish the working day at different times. The staff can decide for themselves when they want to start and finish each day and for how long they are absent at the lunch time. From an employer's perspective, flexitime should reduce the amount of time wasted at work. This is actually very interesting. I prefer to work at flexitime, so I can decide my own when I would like to start the working, when I can finish. Maybe I won't have a lunch time and I can save my time and not to waste just time in the work. So next one, annual hours. The annual hour schemes involve an extension of the flexitime principle to cover a whole year. They offer organizations the opportunity to reduce the cost and improve performance by providing a better match between working hours and the business operating profile. The annual hour system tends to afford less choice for employees. This is annual hours as we work as like a standard hours. So this is not actually comfortable for employees. So next one is the 0 hours. The 0 hours contract is one in which the individuals are effectively employed on a casual basis and are not guaranteed any hours of work at all. They are called in as and when there is need. It's the annual hour. The 0 hours is like, for example, the project manager. If you are project manager, you have the document will give you in some project, and gives you for the project 1 month, and during this month you have to finish that project. It's not depend should you come to the office or not, or you can do it at home. How you can participate with other colleagues is all in your depends on by you only. So this is also interesting. The contract, if you work like that. I also work by. I have worked in the insurance company by 0 hours. When I've been a top manager in the insurance, we have a plan for each month, and we have to complete this plan. And it was not important should you be in the office and sit and waste your time or not. You just do your work at home, you do your own, and then at the end of month you provide your results. But you have to complete the plan. If you are not completing the plan, you can't get the good salary or the bonus one. Actually, this kind of job also interesting. So let's move to the next. So I hope you understand. We have 3 types of contract, which employees can be involved in 0 hours. Annual hours is a standard one, and the flexitime. So let's move to the next one. The typical contractual arrangements. We talk about the not the working pattern of not about the time patterns. We talk about how you have been involved into the contract for how long. So first is permanent. This is open-ended and without a date of expiry. The contract is open in the contract and without the expiry date. Next one is the fixed term. This has a fixed start and finish date, although it may have a provision for notice before the agreed finish date. So, for example, most of outsourced employees, they use this kind of fixed term. They enter into the contract, for example, from the January, from the start of the year, and they finish their job in the December, and then the next year they can to renew their contract. That depends on the company and the employee itself, or depends on the how did you run your job. It depends on your performance also. So next one is temporary. Temporary contracts are for the people employed explicitly for a limited period, but with the expiry date not expressly specified. A common situation is where someone is employed to carry out a specified task, so that the expiry date is when the task is complete. The temporary is can be applied to the, for example, to the manufacturing, to the construction companies. For example, you would like to construct any building, or you would like to do any work at home. So, and when you finish your work, the contract will be finished. Of course, some of the periods will be discussed before the sign of these contracts, maybe during the 2-3 months or more than a year. So this is the contract. The types of contracts could be open-ended without the expired fixed term, the fixed date when you start and when you finish, and temporary for a while only. Depends on your project, on your job, you are going to do. So let's move to the next slide. I hope you understand. This is all our simple terms, and I think this is I can give you examples, and you can understand what it's about actually. So what kind? We have also part-time contracts. Women that most of part-time contracts use a woman. We have the distance working, the working already seen in the field, and home working are the most abused types of distance working, which can be retailing, the retail, teaching, and finance services. So the self-employment, we have self-employment, also the construction, like retail, property, business services, and the personal service industries. So, for example, I'm right now working as a distance working. So I already identified my type of the contract. So you can also identify your own one. So let's move about the consultants. So the consultants offer advice about issues faced by organizations, but they are also in the position to carry out the research, to design new policies and procedures, and to brief or train the staff in their effective use. So here is the Duncan Wood found in his interviews with well-established HR consultants. What they do actually. To provide the specialist the expertise in wider knowledge not available within the client organization. They provide an independent view. The consultant, it's outsourced actually. They act as a catalyst. They provide extra resources to meet the temporary requirements. They help to develop the consensus when there is divided views about the proposed changes. They demonstrate to employees the objectivity of personal changes or decisions, and they justify potentially unpleasant decisions. What do the outsourced consultants, the HR consultant, when we need their help, when the company or organization needs the help? So the next one, outsourcing. So the decision to outsource is made either by the fact that the specialized security or clean and catering companies are often in a position to provide a higher quality standard of service and at lower cost than they can be achieved by in-house operation. As you know, outsource, most of companies use, for example, the cleaners, the catering, about the lunch and food. They use the outsource because actually their service is cheap and very convenient to work with them. So most of companies use outsourcing in the security, as you know, security, in the cleaning or catering. But for example, huge companies, they have their own security and cleaning and catering. When we talk about the huge, it's most of different. But the small and the middle companies, they use outsourcing in this kind of facts when they need the clean or what else, the security or catering. So next one. So let's move to the next slide one. So we have a question for discussion about this. The previous topic. What are the advantages and the disadvantages of the part-time working for the employer and for the employee? And what is the future for teleworking or distance working? If somebody wants to answer, please. If not, we can move to the next slide and we will leave these questions at the end of this class. Who wants to answer for these two kinds of questions? Please. If anybody wants to answer for that questions? Okay, Mr. Elias. Mr. Elias, can you hear me? Mr. Elias, I can't hear you. Sorry. I can't hear you, Mr. Elias. Can you check your microphone if you would like to answer for that question? So here is Mr. Han has been answered for the question. He said the employee can make money and can use his time effectively. An employer can use his resources going ahead. Mr. Osman wants to answer for that question. Yes, you can, please.
Okay, in short, thank you for giving me the chance. The advantages and disadvantages of the part-time working they have, of course, advantages for the employer, and also for the employees. For the employees, for example, the people who are having they're experts in certain areas, but due to other hobbies, they're not able to attend to have a full-time job. We have a cases here, even in organizations. There are some people that they have their own firms. They are making a good business, but on timely basis, on the part-time, they say that okay, they have to be linked with some organizations. They have their own company. They are providing consultancies, but in some areas, when you tell him, offer him the position for the full-time, they are not saying that no, I can't do that one, but only in the part-time. For example, 2 hours in a day or 3 hours in a day, they can come and they can attend because they don't want to lose their own business. And even for the employer, especially if you go to the banking sections, for example, they have their peak hours. Or even if you come to some organization or to the some companies, that when they have lots of demand for example, in a seasonal work, when they have a seasonal work and they would like to produce more equipment, for example, so what they can do that they can only hire some people when they have peak hours. For example, I can say that from the peak hours in the bank from 9 till 12 o'clock. So what they are doing, they are hiring lots of people only for those 3 hours. So as an employer, they are only giving them some money that they may have a kind of special service contract for them, like SSA. They are only giving them on hourly basis the wages, and the rest insurance and all those they are not giving it to them. So it is in a kind of advantages of that they have staff in the peak hours when they have lots of customers, but they're not their full employed, and they don't have those advantages or those benefits which they are giving it to a regular employer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osman. He has given a clear answer. So who wants to answer for the second one, what the future of teleworking or distance working?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes. Sorry. Can you repeat, please?
Yes. Actually, what was just mentioned by our classmate, I fully agree with that. And I would also like to add something more, that sometimes there are different types of part-time jobs also. For example, there are circumstances that part-time job is an option, but other times it's not an option, it's kind of advantage. For example, if the person is really a specialist in something, and his or her skill is really scarce in the market, so he's so highly qualified that any organization will approach to him and hire him as a part-time, and he will be or she will be highly paid. But there are other circumstances where somebody cannot find a job, and even a part-time job to do something because he or she will do that job for survival or making a livelihood for them. So it's advantage and advantage. What I mean to say is that it's also depending on the circumstances. On the second question, the future for the teleworking and distance working, I think the basic tool for the teleworking is the technology. If we don't have internet technology, computer technology, or, for example, telephone and these things, it would be unlikely that we will have distance working, maybe by post or email, but two types of jobs is very, very rare. The future it depends on the growth in the economy and also the level of the knowledge and the kind of or type of the job that is required to be performed. So I would say that the future grows according to the growth and development of the country or the organization. And today's world is kind of growing. For example, now universities are most part of the world, or many parts of the world, like it's also a job. They provide distance learning and they provide online missions. And also, for example, there are medical facilities, medical treatments done through the distance working by giving advice and also guiding trainees on the medical issues. So this is really also situation dependent. That's all I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elias. I got your answer. So, Mr. Osman wants to add something for the second question. Please, Mr. Go ahead, and later we'll move to the next slides. Yes, Mr. Osman.
I am 100% agree with him, but just what we have here practically in the organization for the teleworking or the distance working, we call those kind of contractors or employers the lump sum contracts. I mean, we have these kind of people or these kind of the specialists. Mostly, why should we have distance working or the contract with these kind of the people when we don't have, when there is leakage or shortage of certain professionals? Then what we are doing the same that one, and we are trying to hire some people on the lump sum contract, and we only give them, for example, a special assignment. For, like at the moment we have, and we recruited someone from Netherlands, and we told her that, we requested her that, okay, you have to only write the strategy for the small scale business development in Afghanistan. So that was an assignment given to him. That is not a time-based contract. That is not that she should not come here, and she has to do the job, and the job has to be checked. Then we have certain criteria that have to be mentioned in the contract, the mutual agreement, and has to be checked. The same, for example, we have, I mean, in some cases, it is not important to have the person, like the translations. What we are doing, the books and all those things, we are offering this services to a person, and we are telling him that, okay, just do the job. We don't need you to be here. Just do this one. So in these kind of the jobs, the more professional people, when they are running their own firm, they can do the distance working, and they can only give you a good feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osman. Now we have experienced how your company is going on, how your company actually managed the teleworking or distance working. So let's move to the next slide. Now we already discussed about if somebody wants to answer that question or add something, we will do it at the end of this class. So the next one. So now we move to the topic, the recruitment. recruitment. The potential, actually, here is the potential vacancies occur whether through someone leaving or as a result of expansion. The conventional HR approach to this question is to produce the job description and person specifications. So first we determine the vacancy. If your decision is that you are going to recruit, there are 4 main questions to determine the vacancy. So first is, what does the job consist of? The second is, in what way is it to be different from the job done by the previous incumbent? The third one, what are the aspects of the job that specify the type of candidate? And the last one, what are the key aspects of the job that the ideal candidate wants to know before deciding to apply? So first, when we determine the vacancy, we have to answer for these 4 questions. I mean, HR manager or any HR specialist will answer for that question first. So next one is the internal recruitment. So many organizations prefer to invite applications from the internal candidates before they look to the external labor markets for new staff. I think this is a common situation in the organizations. So there are considerable advantages from the employee's perspective. First, it's a great deal less expensive to recruit internally, and there is no need to spend the money on job advertisement or the recruitment agencies. And instead, a message can simply be placed in the company newsletter or posted on its intranet or staff notice boards. The further cost savings and efficiency gains can be made because the internal recruits are typically able to take up new posts much more quickly than the people being brought in from outside. Even if they have to work some notice in their current positions, they are often able to take on some of their new responsibilities or undergo the relevant training at the same time. The other advantage, distinct from the fact that internal candidates, as a rule, are more knowledgeable than the new starters coming in the organization and about what exactly the job involves. And they are also more familiar with the organization culture, the organization rules and geography, and so take less time to settle into their new jobs and to begin their working at full capacity. So internal recruitment, let's conclude about the internal recruitment. First, this is we talk about the expenditure. This is we save in the recruiting process, in the advertisement, and the internal employee, they are already familiar with the company culture, with the company rules. So, and very easy and it would be very quickly for the employee to get a new job in the company, to get a new post. So I hope you understand me. You have been understand this slide. So let's move to the next one. The methods of recruitment. So here is, look at the table 1. The usage of various means of recruitment by 803 organizations in 2006. This is the statistics of the London. You can see the UK statistics. So most of company, what they use actually, advertisement in local press, 79%, the recruitment agency 76, the corporate website 75%, the special journals and trade press 66%, the job center plus 51%, word of mouth speculative applications 49%, the employee referral scheme 47%, national newspaper advertisement is 45%, the education like 37%, the apprenticeship work placement as second best 36%, the commercial job board internet sites 16%, and posters and billboards 10%, radio, TV 7%, and other is 11%. Here is most is usage advertising in the local press, the recruitment agencies, and corporate websites, in special journals and trade press. So the next slide, the table 2, shows the methods of obtaining a job. So now we can compare these two kinds of tables. How the companies are going to recruit the employees, and how actually in the life is how is actually in the life is already has been applied. So here is the hearing from someone who worked there. The man is 30% and the woman is 25%. Reply to an advertisement, 25% men and 31% is women. The direct application is 14% for men and 17% for women. Private employment agency, 10% for men and women. The job center, 9% for men and 8% for women, and other is 20% for men and 9% for women. So most of usage we can see that is hearing from someone who worked there and the reply to the advertisement. So this is the source. You can see the labor market trend that is shows these figures. So let's move to the next one. Here is the recruitment methods compared. So we can see the main methods of recruitment and their advantages and disadvantages, drawbacks actually. So job centers, you can see. And the advantages, the applicants can be selected from nationwide sources with the convenient local availability of computer-based data. The socially responsible and secure, and can produce applicants very quickly and pre-served for employers. So drawback is registers are mainly of the unemployed rather than of the employed seeking a change. Produces people for interview who are not genuinely interested in undertaking the job. So the next one is the commercial employment agencies and the recruitment consultancies. So advantages is established as a normal method for filling the certain vacancies and have a little administrative hold for the employer. The drawback is you can produce the staff who are likely to stay only a short time, and what is distrusted by employees and can be very expensive. So let's move to the next slide. Here is we can see the management selection consultants. So advantage is opportunity to elicit applicants anonymously, and opportunity to use the expertise of consultant in an area where employee will not be regularly in the market. And drawback is that internal applicants may feel or be excluded, and also cost. Next one is executive search consultants, headhunters, as you know. The advantages is no one individuals can be approached directly, useful if employer has no previous experience in specialist field, and recruiting from or for an overseas location. The drawbacks is the cost. First is the cost. The second is the potential candidates outside the headhunters network are excluded, and recruits remain on the consultant list and can be hunted again. So let's move to the next one. Oh, so we have also schools and the career series and visiting universities. So the schools and career series, the advantage can produce a regular annual flow of interest inquiries, very appropriate for the recruitment of school leavers who seldom look further than the immediate locality for their first employment. And drawbacks is the schools and the advisors are more interested in occupations than organizations. The touch into the potential applicant pool. So what about the visiting universities? Some of use this kind of method. The main source of new graduates from universities, the disadvantages and rated by students as the most popular method. The drawbacks is the need to differentiate presentation from those of other employers, time taken to visit a number of universities, the labor intensive. So, so that's all. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6 type of methods of recruitment: job centers, commercial employment agencies, management selection consultants, access research, headhunters, which is schools and the career series, and visiting universities. So here is now we talk about the recruitment advertising, how it actually is being provided. Many employees are coy about declaring the salary that will accompany the advertised post. Sometimes this is reasonable, as the salary scales are well known and inflexible, as in much public sector employment in Atypical, because they have a general secrecy policy about the salaries. So the decision on what to include in the recruitment advertisement is important because of the high cost of space, as you know, and need to attract attention. Both factors will encourage the use of the fewest number of words. So let's see, the following is a short checklist of items that must be included. So name and the brief details of employee organization, the job role and duties, training to be provided, the key points of the personal specification or competency profile, the salary itself, and instruction about how to apply. This is the main point that can be applied in the advertising. So let's move to the next one. So here is in table 4, we can see the advantages and drawbacks of various means of job advertising. Let's see. So first, internal advertisement. Internal means enters the company. Advantages is the maximum information to all employees who might then act as recruiters. So opportunity for all internal candidates to apply. If an internal candidate is appointed, there is a short induction period. So also advantage is speed and cost. Cost means it's very cheap, it's actually no cost here. So drawback is the limit to number of applicants, which means the advertising applied inside the company only. The internal candidates not much against this from outside, and maybe unlawful if an indirect discrimination has. So what are the methods we have? A vacancy list outside premises. So advantage of this one is the economical way of advertising, particularly if premises are near a busy thoroughfare. This is a very common for the type of advertising. The drawbacks is the vacancy list likely to be seen by few people only. It's usually possible to put only the various information, like the job title or even the just vacancies. So let's move to the next slide. Here is the advertising in the national press. If we advertise in the national press, we have advantages such as advertisement reach large numbers. Some national newspapers are the accepted medium for search by those seeking a particular post. Drawback is the cost, of course, and much of the cost wasted in reaching inappropriate people. So next one is advertising in the local press. The first was the national press, now we talk about the local press. Here is the advantages: recruitment advertisement, more likely to be read by those seeking local employment, and little wasted circulation. And drawbacks is disadvantages: local newspapers appear not to be used by professional or technical people seeking vacancies. So, and also we have advertising in the technical press. The advantages of that is the reach a specific population with a minimum risk. And the drawback is relatively infrequent publication may require advertising copy 6 weeks before appearance of advertisement, and also inappropriate when a non-specialist is needed, or whether the specialist has a choice of professional publications. If in your country you have a technical special press, you can also find the advertisement of vacancy. So right now we talk about the types of advertisement. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide, we have also internet. The advantages: the information about the vacancy reach many people. It's inexpensive once a website has been constructed. The speed with which applications are sent in, so it's cheap and speed and facilitates online shortlisting. The drawbacks of the internet is it can produce thousands of unsuitable applications, as you know, and worries about the confidentiality may deter the good applications. But the confidence here is when you put your CV in the internet, it's also very unsecure, because everybody can get your information. So be careful. So let's move to the next slide. So in the table 5, you can see the praises from a quality newspaper about the salary. We have 12 types of salary, and here is the question: try putting praise in run order to of actual cash value to yourself. Here is the figures count in the francs. So actually it doesn't matter. It could be US dollars or euro or something else. So you just this is home assignment. Please look at the table 5. The phrase from a quality newspaper about the salary, the 12th one. So please try putting the phrase in wrong order to actual cash value to yourself. For example, if you think that negotiated, the neg means negotiable. Yes, Mr. Osman, right? Negotiable. So this is your assignment for home. So you today's PowerPoint slide I will send you by email. You will get it, and then you can open the slide and you put by your own by rank, and then you can send me the answer. And please justify why you think that this is the way of the rank is better for you. Is it okay to everybody? I hope you won't forget, because I also will email you about this assignment. I will remind you, don't worry. So this will be a home assignment. So let's move to the next one. So now we talk about the e-recruitment. The internet recruitment takes two basic forms. So here is the first is centered on the employer's own website, jobs being advertised alongside information about the products and services offered by the organization. So the first is about their own website, and the second approach makes use of the growing number of cable agencies which combine the roles traditionally played by the both newspapers and employment agents, like a headhunter's website, for example. So here are the advantages of the e-recruitment for employers. The principal attraction is the way that the internet allows jobs to be advertised inexpensively, which is it means cheap, to a potential audience of millions. According to Franklin, the cost of setting up a good website is roughly equivalent to that associated with advertising a single high-profile job in a national newspaper. As you can see, the cost of setting a good website is equal to the advertising in a national newspaper. So the huge savings can also be made by dispensing with the need to print the closer recruitment brochures and other documents to send the potential candidates. You just can email, or just you can fill up the online application. And the other big advantage is speed, we know, and people can respond within seconds of reading about an opportunity by emailing the CV to the employer. And shortlisting can also be undertaken quickly with the use of CV matching software or online application forms. So here is the advantage of internet recruitment: is cheap, speed, and worldwide. So next one, the recruiting overseas. Let's talk about the recruiting overseas. So IBS gives the following sound advice to recruit overseas. Recruiting overseas. I hope you can hear me very well. Please give me an answer that you can hear me. A bit low. Oh, I'm sorry. I try to do something to manage my microphone. How you can hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry. But right now it's better. I'm sorry, maybe I think I have a little problem with my microphone. So now we talk about the recruiting overseas. So it's based on the UK country, so it actually doesn't mind that this here is written UK. It could be not UK, or this is the common use points. Here is recruit in countries where the skills and qualifications are comparable with those in your country, for example. This reduces the length of time it takes for each new migrant worker to adapt and begin the performing at a high level. So next one is recruit in a country with a relatively high unemployment and relatively low wages with your country. Elsewhere, workers will have a great deal less motivation to move to your country, for example. Meet potential candidates face to face before employing them. Do not rely on the telephone interviews or the opinion of an agency. This typically involves flying managers out to an overseas destination to run intensive interview days or assessment centers. Ensure that candidates have a strong communication skills and sufficient level of competence in the English language before recruiting them. And next one, ensure that the appropriate accommodation is provided when the new recruits first arrive in the UK, for example, in your country, along with the support system, so that they feel welcome and become more effective quickly. So this is main basic recommendations if you would like to recruit overseas. So here is, let's move to the next one. Next slide. Here is, you can see. Here is in the book you can see also the topics like employee branding, control and evaluation, correspondence and shortlisting. This is very simple topics. You can read yourself, and if you have any question, you just can email to me, and I try to answer to it for you. Or you can ask me on the next class, and I will explain each of this point. Please don't forget about these topics. So let's move to the next. So now we move to the selection methods. The selection as a two-way process. So here is the useful points to interact with the candidate. Oh yes, please write down, this is the homework. You just review these topics: employee branding, control and evaluation, correspondence and shortlisting. At the end of this class, I will send you by email today's class session, the PowerPoint slide, and I will write you your homeworks to remind. I will remind you in the email about all those assignments and homework I'm going to give you for today. Is it okay? Don't worry, I will write to everybody. Yes, I will send to everyone the homework and slides also. Actually, today's slides I tried to prepare in a simple words, as you can see, and main things that you have to know. Because the ebook itself about the HRM is very huge. For each topic it has 100 pages. I know this you have less time for it that to review, and you just can review the slides first. For example, for each slide, and if you didn't understand and you didn't get more information about some slides or topics, you just email to me and I will explain and I will send you the answer one. I think this is the easiest way for you to learn about the HR management. So let's move to the next one. Selection methods. So now is actually the time is already 7:55, as in the Kabul time I can see. And selection methods. Actually, we haven't finished today's session, as I already advanced you that is very huge. So it's okay, because we have a lot of kind of things, as you know, pre-work, telephone. So let's finish before the selection methods, and in the next class we will continue these slides. We will continue and try to finish. We will talk about the selection methods, the retention strategies. This is the two main things that you have to know, and very interesting. So here is the selection, retention, and how to end in the contract. So just a moment, I would like to see how many we have in front, how many slides we have to finish. Selections 44, 70. We have 33 slides more. 33 is a half. Today we learn about only half lessons. Yes, I think the time is limited. This is not good for me, not good, because I try to give you the main points, but also the time is limited for the main points. It's very difficult. So at the next session we try to finish these slides, because today's the slides we finish half one, and next one we try to finish half one. And I will give you the homework as assignment to review and to answer for the question. All those things I will send you by email, don't worry. Yes. And the next, actually, yeah, this is Mr. Barak, yes, this is a very large topic. And actually we have a lot, we have another, I think, another 4 or 5 like this large topic, which we have to complete in your semester. So I have no idea how we can do it, but we try to do it. We have to. So, and why I will give you the homework and assignments and to review your own all about this information. So on the next session we try to finish these slides first, and please you review and read the topic that has been given to you already. And what else? The next session actually will be on Friday. I think you already got the attention. It's okay. Yes, the next session will be on Friday, not Saturday. Friday, same time at 6 p.m., but Friday, not a Saturday. So as I know you are off from from Sunday to Thursday. You have 5 days off. That's good. And congratulations. We have 8. What? We have an 8 for the next week. Yes. So I will give you homework, and on the next session we must to finish these slides. This is main things first. So who has questions? Who has any questions by today's slides? So if nobody have a question, we finished today's session. We covered 3 chapters. Yes, we covered the 3 chapters, Mr. Jawad. It's okay because we covered the like introduction of the resourcing. On the next session, we'll be more interested and more importantly the topics about retention strategies, about the recruitment strategies, selection strategies. So if all other students can join, it will be great. It will be great. So thank you very much to all attendants that is today has been attending the class. Thank you very much. See you then on the next session, which will be on the Friday, on the next Friday, on the 11th of the November.